Hello and welcome to another episode of The Standings, where we review the sports standings, except we're sitting. I'm Daniel, and I'm of course joined by Morgan today. It's only the two of us today, but we should make it work. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Playoffs and draft season, it's a great time to be alive.
It is a great time to be alive. There's a lot to cover, and we are going to have NHL on Monday, so do not worry. But we're going to start with the NFL draft.
Yeah.
My question to you, with Shedeur sliding out of the first round, the Browns trading out of that 2 spot, the Jags moving up 2-2, and Loveland being the first tight end off the board. There's a lot that went on in this draft. What's the most surprising move for you?
So much happening in this draft. I'm going to say surprising to me is Shedeur falling into the second round. I think he'll definitely be picked this second round, but I still am a little bit shaky about it. But one player I'd really like to highlight is Kelvin Banks to the Saints. Usually the Saints are a little bit shaky when they're taking draft picks, but this was a great pick for them. This team had a lot of positions to fill, and Kellen Moore wanted to improve their quarterbacks getting sacked. So this was a great opportunity to protect their quarterback there. And now the Saints' real issue is they need to find a quarterback to protect. But this is a great option for them. A kind of shaky option, though, goes down to Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Booker. Was this the best option for them? No. They still need to really focus on their quarterback. And yes, they needed to replace Zach Martin, but this just really was not a great opportunity for them.
It really looks like Dallas, with this pick, should have gone out and got Tyler Warren, another weapon they could have got for Dak, who's been struggling with getting to his receivers. They needed a running back. Of course, Genty doesn't fall to them, so now they're in the situation where they can take Tyler Warren, and they don't. I just feel like that's such a miss by Dallas, and especially Loveland went off the board. They had the chance to get him, and they just didn't. I want to talk about Jackson Dart, where they trade up, and immediately when they traded up, I knew that they probably were going to go out and get Jackson Dart. You don't trade back into the first round to get Shedeur Sanders, who, to that point, you knew was going to probably fall out of the first round if a team didn't trade up and go and get him. As well, with Loveland being the first tight end off the board, I don't think that was on anybody's draft board, maybe in some, but really not at all. Loveland being the first tight end is very peculiar to me. Another thing that happened in the draft was the Jags moving up to 2. They gave up their next year's first round and got a second round, and the Browns got a second rounder as well to just move up and get Travis Hunter. I don't think Travis Hunter is going to be as good as people think he is. He's probably going to be a middling receiver and a middling cornerback. I don't think you barter and go and get a guy like this when you've gone and got receivers before for Trevor Lawrence, and it just hasn't worked out. The best receiver that's been there has been Christian Kirk. This move doesn't make sense to me. Shedeur falling out of the first round is probably the biggest story, but to me, when we look at it from a perspective where we look from outward going in, this probably should have happened, and we should have known this. It's Deion Sanders' son. That's why there was so much hype going in. Even Shiloh saying that he probably won't get drafted soon. This is just a mockery, honestly. He should have fallen out of the first round. He deserves to. The Steelers passed on him wisely. The move for me that is the best move in the draft is the Falcons double dipping at edge rusher. They got James Pierce Jr. and earlier they got Jalen Walker. I can tell you from my girlfriend being a Georgia fan and watching some of those Georgia games, Jalen Walker is a dog. And James Pierce Jr. was one of the top prospects heading into the draft, but because of injury concerns, now he kind of falls back, and they get both edge rushers. They solidify a defensive line that already has Grady Jarrett, who's a Pro Bowler. And now you have 2 edge rushers where they were 31st in sacks in the NFL. This is going to help them dramatically as long as the organization can push these guys to be better. We see their offense already where the NFC South is completely wide open. They've got talented guys like Michael Penix Jr. They have Algier. They have Kyle Pitts and Drake London. And I'm forgetting one. I know I'm forgetting one. But Bijan Robinson. They have Bijan Robinson as well. They have a really talented team, and all they need to do is get past the Buccaneers because, like you said, with the Saints getting Calvin Banks, they are not being aggressive clearly. They could have got a quarterback there and said that this is our year to get back in this division. They did not.
And I honestly think the first 10 draft picks really did very well. These teams pick their players very well. So it's really interesting to see. And we're getting a lot of like offensive linemen, tackles into these top 10 picks, which you're not seeing very often. So that's something I really liked about this one.
I think it's because those skills positions as well weren't as talented as they were in years past. So we see teams passing on these skills players, and for the Bears, they probably should have done that as well, but the Jets doing it, then the Cowboys doing it, they realize that this isn't the draft to go out there and get those skills players, as well as the Browns doing it. They might look for a quarterback next year, but we'll have to see what happens. We're going to move straight into our next topic, that being the Rockets and Warriors. I would like to go first because I'm so excited for this series. I love what's been going on so far. I phrased this question as, are the Rockets the clearly better team? My answer is yes, the Rockets are the clearly better team. Game 1, we had a dramatic overreaction where the Rockets scored a season low of 85. We knew this wasn't going to happen again. The key point for this is they held the Warriors to under 100 points in both matchups. So that game 1, the Warriors had their ceiling of Steph and Jimmy combining for 56 and still scoring under 100. That's the interesting part of it, is they didn't even play that good. The defense for Houston is playing much better than Golden State, and that's a product of Ime Udoka being a better defensive coach. Now we see the double big lineup that they're running having success in that second game. And Jalen Green, I want to talk about Jalen Green real quick because he was labeled as just an athlete by many sports reporters after that first game. Well, he dropped 38 in Game 2 and showed you that he is not just an athlete. The Warriors have a ceiling in this series. Houston, we have not seen that ceiling yet. It'll be awesome to see the rest of this.
I love how you phrased this question because I was like, oh, that seems a little biased, but that's okay. This young roster averages at 24.4 years old. That's an extremely young roster, especially in the West that we're seeing, and they haven't made it into the postseason in 5 years. So that's really interesting. They are really eager to play in this postseason. But the most important thing for this Rockets team is they need to make shots. The coach told them, you need to make shots. And you know what? They did. They went into that game and they made those shots. But the team is ready to play now. Their nerves are out. Even Jalen Green admitted he was nervous. He was shaking. He said he looked around the stadium and it just seemed so much bigger than it actually was. So he really had those first game jitters that the Rockets weren't really prepared for. So that kind of slowed them down Game 1. But Game 2, they were ready. And they were playing good basketball. Both of these teams are playing good basketball. Yes, the Rockets have a great defense, but we're seeing back and forth, fast-paced plays between all of these players. Like you're getting Curry and then back, and then Curry and then back, and then the math, you can't even keep up with the math. It's insane. It's so fun to watch. But here is the issue with the Warriors. Jimmy Butler is injured. He is injured, and we don't really know what's going to go on there. And Coach Kerr says he doesn't really want to change the lineup, but he will if he has to. I think you have to. Obviously Jimmy Butler can't play, but luckily for the Warriors, Jimmy Butler just joined in February, so they're really not missing that much. They just need to adapt and overcome by him. But this stuff happens in playoffs. You need to be able to be adaptive and overcome all of this, and the Warriors just don't seem to be fully there yet. But what I really like about this matchup here is these teams are aggressive. They have some fun plays to watch. I mean, Draymond Green is always such a fun player to watch, but now we're throwing elbows, people are bleeding. This is it's like hockey in basketball in one. It's so great to see.
When you get Draymond Green and Dillon Brooks in one series, you already know it's about to be a competitive, tough, and then you have shooters like Steph Curry, like Jalen Green, like Buddy Hield. You have all these shooters in the series and all these tough guys. It makes for the most watchable series that we've seen so far and the most exciting that we've seen. It's going to be so interesting to see what happens in this series, but I really do feel confident in the Rockets because we have not seen their ceiling yet. Like you talked about with the nerves of Jalen Green, those nerves do affect the players. All of the young players, even Amen Thompson, who hasn't shown us his full potential yet, and Şengün, who's very young. This team has so much potential, and if they can just get past that inexperience, that the Warriors have the experience over them, they can really make a run in this Western Conference.
Yeah, this is such a Cinderella story for them, and honestly, I wouldn't count out the Warriors yet, But the Rockets just seem to really have their footing, and this is such a great competition that I don't think many of us were expecting, especially since the Warriors coming in, they had to do the play-in. And like you said before, when the Warriors have to do the play-in, they're not as good as they would be.
Yeah, they don't get as much rest, and the Rockets look fresh in this second game. I'm surprised they lost that first game, and I'd be surprised if they lost another game in the series. We're going to come back after a commercial break. We are going to talk Lakers, T-Wolves, and then we're going to talk Knicks, Pistons. We'll have more NBA after that. We're going to head right to a break. We'll be right back after this.
My name is Abby Blancato, and I'm an anchor for Royal Studios. Right now, behind the set of the show, you're watching The Standings. You can catch me on Royals Weekly every Friday, where we cover all things University of Scranton. From campus clubs, events, and sports news, you'll get everything you need. Until then, back to The Standings.
Welcome back from the break. We're going to jump right into Lakers T-Wolves. My question to you is, should the Lakers feel confident about the rest of this series after that Game 2 win?
When you are 1-1 in a playoff series, I wouldn't say you should be confident you're going to win, but you need to be confident going into the games. So I wouldn't say the Lakers really are doing their greatest right now, but they're not doing their worst. But the key element here is Luka needs to keep his eye on the prize. This is very important for the Lakers to continue into this series. And they kept the Wolves away from scoring. In that second game, they had a 9-point deficit between them at all times or greater. They did not get closer than that. And Anthony Edwards said the Lakers' defense was actually really hard to get past. So this is really interesting to see from this team. And so what is really great about the Lakers is they went into game 1, they saw where they fell short, and they adapted really fast to the Timberwolves play style. So I expect them to keep watching their games, even though if they win or they lose, they will be watching their games and they'll say where they mess up, they will take accountability, and they will be back on the court and they will win there. If they want to go far in this series, all they have to do is keep up their stamina and keep the Timberwolves a little chill. The Timberwolves really, really found their rhythm, and I just don't think the Lakers were expecting that yet. And the Lakers head coach, JJ Redick, is really proud of this team so far. Even though they are 1-1, it could just really boost up this team. And they have these set pieces. They have Luka, they have LeBron, and they can really carry the Lakers to the next matchup. And as long as they don't let the Timberwolves find their footing again, I do say that there should be some confidence here.
For Anthony Edwards, it's weird to admit after a game that you were confused, is what the word he used, at the other team's defense. That is something that you just don't say. You don't admit going into the rest of the games that you were confused. With this, the Lakers should feel good, but they should tread lightly going forward. I still believe the Lakers could win this in 5 games. They could take away this series, but as of right now, they played Game 1 right into the hands of what Minnesota wanted us to do, and that had a lot to do with having Naz Reid on the floor and getting rid of that size versus the Lakers, but still having it because Naz Reid is still 6'10". So when you have a guy out there who still is the biggest guy on the court, and you have Rudy sitting, you're able to load manage. And this really played into their hands because Naz Reid had a great shooting game, and Anthony Edwards had a great shooting game. In this game, too, the Lakers' defense really showed their light, especially Luka Doncic on the offensive side of the ball, completely took them out of the game by halftime. And then the Lakers' defense just shut them out and made sure that they wouldn't even be able to get in reach for the rest of the game. The key part of this is, what do you do about being undersized as the Lakers? And even going forward beyond this series, LeBron is not going to be able to play the 5. I have seen that out there. That is absolutely preposterous. LeBron at age 40 needs to play the 5 spot? I really don't think so. So maybe advocate for more Jackson Hayes minutes. Play it like you did in Game 2. Have Luka dominate those first 3 quarters, and then have the best closer in the NBA ever, LeBron James, play a 4th quarter that will be remembered by everybody. That's the way to win this. JJ Redick clearly out-schemed the Minnesota coach in Game 2. He is clearly putting this team in the driver's seat. Let's look beyond this, though. If the Lakers advance in a tired series, because this might go out to 6 or 7 games, it could, because it's 1-1 right now. If the Lakers are able to handle it in 5, they will be in good position. But if this series drags out, they're moving on, and you move on to play either the Warriors or the Rockets, who both look very good. And the Warriors, even though we discussed that they don't look very good, they looked very good against the Lakers all season. Then you move on and you play either Denver, who's dominated you. You play a healthy Oklahoma City Thunder, assuming that they just roll through this Western Conference. Or you play a Clippers team that is very complete right now, which we'll talk about, and has Kawhi playing in his 2019 form again. This is scary for the Lakers. And even on the Warriors-Rockets side of it, whoever moves on, it's going to be tough.
It is going to be a very tough battle, and I just don't see the Lakers, like you said, if they win this series, I think they're just going to stop in round one. I don't think they're going any bit further than that, just because there's so much more potential and growth from all these other teams in the West, and they're really showing like a positive trajectory, and the Lakers are just kind of stagnant a little bit, and it's just not where they need to be for playoff caliber.
I think that they can get it together. Honestly, the Lakers in 5 meme can still be up for debate. We're going to move into our next segment, that being Knicks Pistons. Wish Cam was here to tell us about the Knicks. He would probably have a lot to say about this series, maybe a lot of frustration. I'm not really sure. But are the Knicks in the driver's seat after this win?
So, I don't think the Knicks are in the driver's seat, but they might have called the taxi. That might be what they did. These games are too close for comfort for it to be okay. However, the Knicks winning this game was very important for them. Jalen and Kat combined for 61 points, which is great, and they need to keep doing that. They need to keep up this scoring game because that's where they could fall short, and that's where they are losing. The Knicks offense needs to step it up throughout all these games. You can't just have some games where you're just not good and some games where you are good. You need to be consistent, and consistency wins games. You need to throw the other team off, and this is just not working for them, but they do have potential to grow from here. Luckily, Kat had a comeback because in the first game he was just like not doing well on Monday. It was a hard watch for him. And Brunson is just clutching up in this last game. His play style between game 2 and 3 is just really, really good. He's adapting to the court, and that's what you really need to see, and that is why he's a clutch player. Like, he deserves the title. He knows what he's doing, and his IQ there is just a bit greater than other people on the court. What we're seeing with the Pistons is that this is a young team that doesn't fully understand how playoffs work. You could tell they're just a little bit confused. They're not very confident in what they're doing. Yes, they can win games, but it's just kind of shaky on their part. But the issue is they were just like 1 3-pointer away from winning the game the other day. So you need to figure stuff out here. The Knicks should be doing better than they actually are. So I wouldn't say they're in the driver's seat. I do think there needs to be some help here.
I love how you mentioned that they played such a complete game in that game 3, and still the game was within reach. Mm-hmm. How is the game still within reach when your whole team puts up great numbers? On paper, this is one of the best rosters in the NBA and can compete with a complete roster like the Boston Celtics, who they will have to move on and play if they get out of this series. They need to get out of this series quick because Boston will be done in 4 with this, and if they get more rest, that's not going to help you. The Knicks need to be in the driver's seat. Thibodeau playing his players for 40 minutes plus every single game is obviously straining on their longevity throughout this series. On the flip side of it, the Pistons have been outplaying them for the majority of these games. Cade Cunningham is averaging nearly a 30-point triple-double every night. He needs more help from guys like Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, Malik Beasley, and Asor Thompson. This team needs to put their foot on the gas and really grasp what the playoffs really are. Dennis Schroeder can't come off the bench and give you 20 every night. He's had 20 and 18, which has been impressive and why they were still in that game 3 in general, but he can't do that every night. And on the other hand, for New York, you can't have a guy like Cam Payne come off the bench like he did in game 2 and win you that game. That just doesn't happen. I'm sorry, game 1 he did that. But that just can't happen every single game. So for both teams, they need to play better. But one guy I want to look at is Miles Bridges. You went out and you spent a lot to get Miles Bridges on this team. He should be performing way better than he is. No 5-point games for Miles Bridges. This team needs to be complete, and that starts with him. It may seem like it starts with Jalen Brunson because he's the star, but I just don't think it does.
No, that's so fair because they traded so much for him, and just for it to fail a little bit in the playoffs when there should be so many more clutch players for the Knicks to pop up here, and they're just falling short. They're falling short. And the Pistons, yes, they are a good team. They need to learn how to work together a lot better. There needs to be more unity on each of these teams, I think. I think neither of them fully understand the task at hand here. And I think part of it is just, I don't want to play the Celtics, so I know I'm going to lose against them, so why not lose here?
And it's great for the Celtics because Jason Tatum being quote-unquote injured, he just might not have to play the series, and then he might come in healthy for the next series. But let's give this hypothetical, if Jason Tatum is really hurt, and it's Jaylen Brown who's the leader of that Celtics team, does the Knicks team have a fighting chance?
I just don't really see the Knicks team having a fighting chance against the Celtics just because the Celtics had such a great year last year. They're really doing well this year, but obviously we're seeing the Knicks just constantly fall short in all these ways. I just don't think they could keep up.
The Pistons got their first playoff win since 2008. If they can win this series, it would be the first series win since 2008. It will be a very close and competitive series from what we've seen so far. No matter how the teams play, it's always coming down to the wire. We're going to have to monitor it, but we're going to head to a commercial break. When we come out of the break, we are going to talk Clippers, Nuggets, and Pacers, Bucks, which I'm sure you will be happy to talk about. Maybe. But we'll be right back after this.
Hi, it's Sam Sunny, a co-anchor of Royal Studios. I'm currently behind the scenes of the show you're watching, The Standings. Check me out next week on the latest episode of Scranton Scope, where I'll tell you what's going on in the Scranton community and how you can get involved. We cover events like sports, movies, music, and more. Scope has everything that you're looking for. See you there. Now back to the standings.
Welcome back from the break. We're going to talk some Pacers Bucks. I'm sure you are a bit hesitant to be talking about this, but I'm going to throw it to you first. Are the Milwaukee Bucks in trouble?
Not only are the Milwaukee Bucks in trouble for the playoffs, they are in trouble for their future seasons to come. If you cannot win a single playoff game with Giannis, who is MVP caliber, what are you doing? This all roots deeply in the coaching staff and the front office because this team has so many great players that we've seen continually just play very well. I mean, they won the championship. It's years ago now. It's nothing at this point. You barely have that same team anymore, but you still have some of these key asset players. How can you not win a single playoff game with them? It's insane. You don't even have to win the series. Just win a game at this point. And the Bucks, oh my goodness, why are you paying 3 separate coaches? You are paying 3 separate coaches. Doc Rivers' $40 million contract goes until 2027. You cannot fire Doc Rivers, and you are losing so much money. You are getting nothing in gain from Doc Rivers, and here you are, you're paying Doc, you're paying Adrian Griffin, you're paying Mike Budenholzer. That's just insane. You cannot afford this, and you know what's coming next? Everybody knows what's coming next. Giannis is leaving this team. There's no way that he can keep playing on this team, even though he loves the Bucks. He's been a Buck for life. He's going for a trade. He wants to be in a place where he can win and feel valuable. Yes, he is valuable on this Bucks team, but obviously not enough because he just keeps failing with this team. And he's putting up great numbers. You can't deny it. That is why he's MVP caliber against Jokic, against Shea. So what are the Bucks doing wrong? A whole lot. That's what's going on there.
So I love that you gave the legacy factor of the Bucks past this series. I want to evaluate them in this series because I don't believe it's over. But yes, Giannis is believed to be the second best player in the NBA right now. If this team doesn't succeed because they don't have talent around them, because Damian Lillard's not healthy, because Doc Rivers has that contract, this is a huge failure for them. And they are in danger of Giannis leaving, which is kind of exciting as a Heat fan. But they are in danger of Giannis leaving, especially if he finds that new destination and wins, and the Bucks can't even get a star in return when he leaves, they are in danger. I want to look at this series, though. I want to still act as if this is alive, because it is, because they travel back to Milwaukee, so they're going to go back to home court. The scary part is when you have Bobby Portis putting up nearly a career high, and you're not winning these games. In both Game 1 and Game 2, he played a good game. Another scary thing, Dame Lillard coming back clearly too early. They said this is something we've never seen before. There's a reason for that. He scored 14 points in that game and did not look good at all. Giannis is not getting his help, even from some of the role players like Taurean Prince, Brook Lopez, and Kyle Kuzma, who had that 0 stat line throughout the one game. They are not playing well, and we finally feel the void of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday through this team, because when they're not on the court, when a defensive point guard that really ups your defense and can dish out the ball to your best guys isn't on the court, and one of your best perimeter shooters leaves, you do feel the void. Nobody's filling it right now. You want me to believe Taurean Prince and Kyle Kuzma will? Because Doc Rivers said he's drawing up plays for Kyle Kuzma. Stop drawing up plays. That's not good for the team. Let's look at the Pacers, though. The Pacers have impressed me so much, led by the most overrated player in the NBA, apparently, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton last year did not impress me, but this year is impressing me because he's maintaining that good play of his team. You have Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Nembhard, Nesmith, very good players on this team. The Pacers can drop 140 on any given night, haven't done it yet, but they are playing as a complete unit right now, even having Matherin come off the bench. I don't believe they're in the tier with the Cavs and Celtics yet when we talk about projection past this round, if we're going to go there, but they are a very good team and could be scary if they get out of the series quickly.
I think the Pacers are a great team, and they've shown such great growth, especially last playoffs and this playoffs. The Pacers do really well in the playoffs, and I feel like they fly under the radar a lot. Not many people talk about the Pacers that often, and then boom, there the Pacers are in your face. So that's what's really interesting about them. But yeah, I do think I don't understand why they brought Dame back so early. It's dangerous. I'm so happy for Drew Holiday, who is now on the Celtics winning. Good for him, but I honestly think this Bucks team is a mess, and the Pacers own the Bucks right now.
I really hope it becomes a competitive series. That's
so
the best
too.
case scenario, because the Pacers, we don't believe here yet that they are contenders, and Giannis needs to continue his legacy. Mm-hmm. We're going to move straight into our next topic, that being Clippers Nuggets. My question to you is, what's going on with the Denver Nuggets? And what can be said about the Clippers team that looked dominant in this Game 3?
So, take a look at Denver. I mean, you have Jokic, who's basically averaging a triple-double the whole entire season. Such a great player. You have an interim head coach who doesn't know how to work a defense. And you have, once again, Jokic, because he's averaging so high, is exhausted. He is tired. Nobody's helping him. That is what's going on in the Nuggets. They don't know how to use other players. It's ridiculous. And when we're taking a look at a huge name on this team, Russell Westbrook, you have caused such a roller coaster on this team. I don't think you're staying here another year, because I've seen you fail so often. You'll have highs, and then it'll just be the lowest lows ever, and you're losing these games, and it's just not worth having Russell Westbrook on this team to constantly sell. They need a better player to come take in that role, because it's not working with them. So the one game when he took 5 3-point shots, he missed 4 of them, and he was wide open. Russell Westbrook is not the player that the Nuggets need. But when we're looking at the Clippers are on a roll. They went from losing, they went into overtime, and now they are winning. This is such a complete team. I mean, James Harden's up there, and he's loving this team. And just seeing the growth in James Harden when he was on the Sixers, he would never show up to games, and now he's with the Clippers. He loves this team. And before the tournament, they were only losing to the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Pelicans. But, you throw a dog a bone sometimes. You can't always be winning there. And a key player for the Clippers is Zubac. He's defending this court. He is shooting. He is scoring. He's covering all the bases here. So the Clippers just have what they need, and the Nuggets have nothing at all.
So as far as that goes, I love what you said about it, because Jokic is in danger right now of not being the best player in the NBA. I'm sad to say it, but that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. He's not performing well in this series the way he should. I think it's the complete opposite of Giannis, because Giannis has been dominating in the series and really hasn't left us with questions of if Giannis Antetokounmpo is good. He is very good. Jokic, on the other hand, is not performing well. Yeah. He had bad turnovers in Game 2 and did not look like himself in Game 3, was frustrated on that bench. This is a big legacy move, and as far as the Clippers go, they are really playing as a complete unit. Like you said, James Harden is playing the best he ever has in his whole career. We talked about the Nets' James Harden and the Clippers, now James Harden, he is a very good player, and he is going to lead them in this series. We almost got Kawhi back in 2019 form, not as an impressive game in Game 3, but he really had a great game in Game 2, took over in that game. As far as the Nuggets go, let's talk about this. We talked about how they should shoot more threes. They have not shot more threes. They could be dominating this series. They shot 40% plus in the first game. Then they shot 33% in the second game. This Game 3 was an anomaly. They shot 26%. But shoot the three more. The offensive coach is their head coach now. So he should know how to run this offense, and he should know it can't always rely on Jokic being good in the paint. It's the same thing we talk about with the Bucks. Those perimeter guys need to be good. So Michael Porter Jr. is the biggest culprit of them all. He has played terrible this series, and we haven't seen Jamal Murray break 30 in this series. He needs to play better. This is absolutely unreal for the Nuggets, the way they have fallen apart. They looked really good at the end of the season, and now just not good at all.
Yeah, it was just that switching and staffing, I think, really brought them down. And we were seeing that, slow decline from Jokic there because they rely on him so much, and then he was injured a little bit. And a lot of the Nuggets team was injured right before playoffs were starting to happen, so we're seeing kind of a mess with them there. But I just think the Clippers are doing so well. They're so well-rounded, and the Nuggets don't know what to do to keep up with them.
The Nuggets kind of need a guy like Bruce Brown on that team to really solidify that bench role and get them going. They don't have that. And that makes the offense so much worse in the series when you don't have depth on the bench and you can only rely on your starters. We knew this was a problem with the Denver Nuggets, even in their championship run, is they don't have depth. But those guys turned up in the playoffs. They haven't so far, and we need to see what they can do going forward because this series realistically should be 3-0. It should be 3-0 Clippers. That game should have never gone to overtime. They had it in the driver's seat. And now it's still a competitive series, even though it doesn't look competitive by any means.
Thank you for watching the standings.
Check out other Royal Studios content like Scranton Scope and Royals Weekly.
Tune in next time.
See you next week.